As the internet began to grow in the 1990s, the idea of privacy was not a concern. Everything that was said and posted online could be traced back to the person that posted it. The idea of a private internet was first explored by a team of researchers and mathematicians working for a branch of the US government called the Naval Research Laboratory. The creation of the dark web goes back to the 1990s. US military researchers wanted to create a way to allow intelligence operatives to exchange information anonymously. They called it Tor, which stands for the Onion Router. That is correct. The dark web was initially created for US government use. Tor works by creating something called an overlay network. This goes on top of your existing network connection. So instead of your network traffic going over your normal internet connection unencrypted, it goes through this encrypted overlay Tor network. This worked well and all, but the people over at the Naval Research Laboratory discovered an issue. If the government was the only entity using this Tor network, how could it remain anonymous? With the way that Tor works, the more people using it, the more secure and anonymous it is. So the US government released it into the public domain for everybody to use. The reasoning was it was harder to be anonymous on this service if they were the only ones using it. When the US government released their onion routing technology, it was soon adopted into an open source project that we know today as Tor. Tor is the software that you need to download in order to access onion routers. Tor was quickly widespread and is currently being used by millions of people. It is used for everyday innocent web browsing and illegal activities. Now that we know what Tor is, I will explain the differences between the surface web, the deep web, and the dark web. The surface web is what you're likely using right now to watch this video. The surface web makes up all the websites that can be indexed by Google and can be freely accessed. The deep web is websites and information that cannot be accessed and indexed by Google, such as banking information, databases, email, dynamic content, and anything that is password protected. For instance, if you visit this link, you'll be visiting content that is being hosted on the deep web, since this web page is not indexed by Google or any other search engine. As you can imagine, the deep web holds much more information than the surface web. It is estimated that the deep web is up to 500 times the size of the surface web. The dark web is a part of the internet that can only be accessed with specialized software such as Tor. This is a much smaller part of the deep web. So let's recap. The surface web is content that can be accessed and indexed by Google. The deep web is content that cannot be indexed by Google. And the dark web is content that can only be accessed with specialized software such as Tor. Now that we know what makes up the surface web and the deep web, what makes up the dark web? The dark web is comprised of websites called hidden services. The address for a Tor website will start with a random string of numbers and letters and will always end in .onion. If we try to type this into a normal web browser, it will not work. You will need to be using the Tor browser. This is the dark web. Well, one site on the dark web. This site is called the Hidden Wiki and is a small list of websites and services on the dark web. The dark web is made up of some completely legal and legitimate services. For instance, Facebook has an address that allows people to access the website anonymously. But there are also services such as Silk Road that allow people to buy drugs online. This video is actually an intro to a series that I'm going to be doing on the dark web. I will be exploring a whole bunch of dark web mysteries and things like that. So if you guys want to see more stuff just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed.